Here, we just go through it.
Are we? Are we good? Oh, okay. All right. Morning, everyone. We'll get started. Don't forget to mute your phones or anything else that is prone to making noise. Madam Clerk, will you roll us in? I'm going to do a roll call now.
Curran.
Here.
Freeling. Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman. Majerick.
Here.
Ott.
Here.
Chokeway. Oh, Pittsford. I do that all the time to you. I apologize. Ballrath.
Here.
Werfel. Here. Yarborough. Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. I understand Mamie's going to be along. And Terry's at the fair, I think. So, okay. All right. Minutes from a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, actually, the 27th of July. We haven't had one of these for a while. No, haven't heard anything, so I'm guessing the minutes are good. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 27th.
Moved by Pitchford. Supported by Majerick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Requisitions.
Yep. Good morning. Does anybody have any questions about the requisition list that's sent out? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we ready to roll in with Jill?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Jill Adams is here today. She's going to talk with you all about the upcoming project at Silver Beach, and more specifically, fundraising effort. The fundraising is intended to cover the local match on the proposed playground structure. As just a little bit of background, and Jill's going to go into a lot more detail. We were successful in receiving Spark funding from the state of Michigan. So a big part of the project is already funded by the state. And Jill is working now to try and cover the local match to minimize the impact on the county's overall general fund. When she is done, I'm going to be asking each and every one of you to consider possibly throwing some money into the hat. So Jill, no pressure, just make sure that you really sell them. All right.
All right.
You're good to go.
The cute kids in the photos I'm going to show you may be the selling point, to tell you the truth. So we've been working on the Silver Beach Playground project for quite some time, and we're excited to really be diving in and doing survey work and working with our prime professional and getting this project going. The main overall goal for the Silver Beach Playground project is to create a playground where every kid can come and play. Their parents and grandparents can play alongside them without any barriers or limitations. The current playground is over 30 years old. It's held up very well in this environment, but it is showing more wear and tear, increasing need to replace parts that have cracked, fading, and really it's lacking some elements that we can add into the new playground and make it even more exciting and inviting for people. Quick timeline about how we got up to this point. The playground itself, the replacement project, has been mentioned in the previous and the current 5-year parks plan. And in January of 2021, the Parks Department and the Parks Commission started working on a Silver Beach master plan, which included the playground. And at that time, we created or brought together a pretty large steering committee to get our needs and wants for Silver Beach down on paper. And with the playground portion of that project, we met with multiple playground companies at that time to let them know what we're looking to do, get some pricing, get some ideas down on paper. When the DNR Spark grant came about, we were ready to roll on the playground project because of what we had done in the master planning process. And we were able to secure a Spark grant that was executed in May of 2023. And last month, park staff was able to meet with our prime professional, and we are starting the planning process. They're also going to help us through the construction management. And We have put a request out to multiple playground companies to put some ideas and concepts down on paper for us to review. And that's where we're at right now. The new playground is going to include a lot of some oldie but goodie elements, but also some really new and exciting and innovative features that likely weren't available 30 plus years ago. I've toured a number of playgrounds in the area, and I've seen some really neat tactile, visual, and auditory elements that provide those experiences to young people and their caregivers. We certainly want kids to be using their imagination and being creative, so we will work hard to put some really fun elements to bring out the creativity. One feature that is lacking with our current playground is seamless barrier-free surfaces and transfer decks. And these features are simple to put in there, and they will make it easier for people to move around the playground as well as on the playground. And through the research that we've done, there's some really neat inclusive play equipment out there that we would like to incorporate. And this is basically allows all kids to play together on this playground, but also to include their older siblings, parents, grandparents, and caregivers to play alongside them. And there's some really new modern things out there too that we would like to incorporate. So again, oldie but goodie, tried and true, we'd like to keep, but then we'd also like to have a new feature for kids to come and explore. So the overall project is expected to be $1,250,000. That includes all of the construction management help, the surfacing, as well as the equipment. The Spark grant for $850,000 will go towards that project. So our effort is to raise $400,000 so that we can complete this project. So the timeline going forward, next week we will receive some concepts and ideas from playground companies. We'll review them internally, and we will be providing an opportunity for the public to take a look at those and comment. The best thing that I've experienced going around to different playgrounds and talking to kids and parents is that personal feedback. Go to a playground, what's the highlight? What's the best? What do the kids like the most? Let's try to get some of those elements incorporated in. So the kids and the parents are the best information for me, and I've been trying to gather that all along. And we are essentially kicking off the fundraising project today. So we'd like to, the goal is to set the deadline for the fundraising effort in December, mid-December, because we'd like to go out to bid for this project in January of 2024. And then if all stars align and supply chain works for us, we would like to start the construction phase in fall of 2024, possibly spring of 2025. But that bid process, we'll learn a lot more in January and February as we get those bids back and learn about supply chain. So how to donate. We have been working with the Berrien Community Foundation. They've set up a Silver Beach Playground Project Fund there, so people can give tax deductible donations either through the website with a donate button, and funding can be mailed or dropped off at the Berrien Community Foundation in St. Joe as well. And before I open it up for questions, I do want to share one quick story. So I was at the playground or at the beach with my family after work hours one night. We were eating pizza on the picnic table like hundreds of people do. And we got talking to a lady sitting next to us. And it turns out she's from Canada. And I didn't tell her that I worked there, but I said, how'd you end up in this area for your trip? And she said that she asked her kids where they wanted to go on their summer trip And they said that they wanted to go to the beach with the playground. So my hope is that we can be the playground for all the kids that want to come and play. Any questions?
Any questions for Jim? Yes, sir.
The construction of, when you're gonna get the plans from these other, are they gonna include what they call sand barriers? Like, for example, when we were in Panama City, their playgrounds on the beach had these magnificent glass, I don't know if they're glass, but sand barriers to keep the
Yeah.
sand. I mean, is that a concern for?
It
you thinking
is. I have a slide that kind of shows that out. Sorry, that's okay. If you want to look at the slides that were sent to you, it does. We've been playing around with the different aspects of the sand situation, which is huge in our planning process. And we do have a 3-foot fencing with a natural barrier. So dune grass that we already know we have a lot of examples of that catches the sand. And then some cut throughs to get from the playground to the beach. So out of all the factors going into this project, maintenance of that playground is in the top 3 of my issues that need to be addressed. So one of the issues is the surfacing. That's a significant portion of the cost of the project. And there's 2 different versions, and the better non-porous version, which I am striving for, is double the price, but it also will it'll last a lot longer, and it'll reduce the maintenance over time. So absolutely, we're open to ideas. So we've talked to playground surfacing companies in California who have done beachside projects, and we're getting feedback from them. Yeah.
A lot of sand for a guy.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I talked to one of the previous maintenance guys of the roofs down at the park, and how the sand is always ripping the paint off of it.
Yeah.
Is that being considered when we're doing, piping on this? They use a special paint or
They do. So this playground being built in 1991 is really held up well. So I think we need to keep that quality. We need to get another 30 years out of this new playground. So the company that we've worked with for 30 years has really been educating me on those aspects, what kind of, we'd like to do a similar quality as the one that's there now so that we can get 30 years out of it. So certainly that needs to be, it's getting sandblasted essentially every day. So yeah. Okay.
If anyone wanted to make a donation, check preferred.
Check is absolutely welcome. And if you want to give it to me, I will drive it over to the community foundation.
If it's given to you, will it still be payable to their community?
Yes, and they will send you a receipt.
The destination that is-
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, if you look at the screen behind you, we will happily take checks. Another way to do this donation is just through your smartphone. This QR code will take you directly to the portal for the receipt of the funds. On the county's website, on the parks page, there's also a pretty clear, essentially like a cutout in the middle of the screen, just noting that the fundraising effort is underway, and that'll link you directly to the community foundation. I would respectfully ask the board to consider taking a few minutes today, and if you're willing to, we would love to have you all as some of the first donors.
Thank you.
Yeah. So members of the board, Shelley White is here. She's going to update you all on the status of the delinquent tax sale. And Shelley, are you ready? Okay, get out of your way.
Good morning, everyone.
We recently had our tax foreclosure sale August 3rd. It was again, once again, online only. We had, this was for properties that had delinquent taxes of 2020 and prior years. So we had a total of 86 parcels going to auction in that first round. 69 of them sold. And the minimum bid of those, for those 69 parcels, was $247,425. Of that, we had sales of $1,538,853, so $1.5 million. Out of those 69 that were sold, it was kind of interesting to see that the buyers, I had 19 from out of state, and those included people from California, Illinois, Texas, Georgia, and Florida purchasing. And 16 of those buyers were out of Berrien County, but within the state of Michigan. So I had half out of state, half out of Berrien County, but the remainder was buyers within Berrien County. So of those 69 that were sold, I had 26 of the excess proceeds claims on those. And that amounted to $700,740. So that will have to be paid out eventually, once we go to court next year and the judge rules on that, as long as these people file motions with the court. So we'll be paying out about $700,000 of that money, leaving roughly about $590,000 after that sale. The remaining 17 properties will be going to auction again on September 29th. And those will be for the minimum bid again, which will include the back taxes and any additional costs and fees associated with that. If they don't sell at that one, then we have our final auction on October 30th, and the minimum bid will be $100 on those. The auction properties will be back online again, probably in another week or so, the remaining 17, and that will be on the website at tax-sale.info. And there are various other counties involved with this service that I've outsourced to, so you can not only see Berrien County, but you can see other counties as well, if you're interested in purchasing other property outside of Berrien. So, but like I said, I feel we did well. It's a lot of money for only a handful of properties. I don't like to take the properties, but it's the nature of the beast and comes with the job. So, but we try to keep it as minimal as possible. So that's the first round. Like I said, second round will be again on starting September 29th. Does anyone have any questions?
John?
Shelley, is it unusual to have out-of-state buyers buying? Is that normal?
Since we went online only versus public, it gives a broader view. And it's kind of interesting you asked that, because a week ago I was at the MAC conference and someone else asked the same question. When are we going to be in person again with these auctions? And the auctioneer, well, from the company said, he says, we won't go back in person. He says, you get better views online only because you can sit basically in the comfort of your living room and just click the button and view everywhere. One of the problems I have seen already this year, especially with the claims process, and there was one individual in particular that he came in 3 years ago and scooped up a bunch of empty lots. They're back in the cycle again. They were back in the auction this year, and he filed claims on every one of them. He filed 20 claims. So we may start seeing that a little more. I have had others, I know of 2 for sure, that let the property go and then filed a claim, sold the property. Well, they purchased it back, sold it, and had a claim on top of it, so they reaped in the excess proceeds on it as well. So it's almost like a real estate business. Unfortunately, they're finding these ways to get money.
Members of the board, just remember, use your microphones.
Any other questions? Jim?
The 750,000 you talked about with the claims, that's the Raffaelli decision, correct?
Correct.
The results of that.
Correct.
Is this really the first year we've done the auction after that has been determined?
We did last year as
Last-
well.
okay.
Mhm. Now, there's other lawsuits pending out there right now. For one, the Wayside Church, I don't know if you've heard me speak of that. That's the Van Buren lawsuit. But we were included in that, being part of the Western District. That one, they can file a claim. They've extended that to September 5th. So those go back to 2013, those claims. I don't know how many of those I will have. I won't know until the deadline is over.
Okay.
But
Would
this one for the ones that I just spoke of were just for this auction.
Okay. Would it be worthwhile taking a look at last year's and this year's after it's all shaken out to see just what the impact of that lawsuit has on us from what we've done in the past?
We can do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way to pre-qualify potential purchasers so that you don't get into some of this gamesmanship with flipping properties and the like? So that someone who's, had properties come back to us because of whatever they're doing, where you can exclude them from participating.
About the only disqualification with this is if they have delinquent taxes on other properties that would disqualify them from bidding. They can't bid. That's really about the only way, unfortunately.
So to change that would require some action by the state legislature?
The state, and also, that would probably be the biggest step, but also through the auctioneer as well,
Okay.
to change his rules with it.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
would like to see that.
Turn your mic on. Yeah.
Tricky things are not new. The landlords always knew. They let it go to 3 years and then another landlord would buy it. So they've been working and doing things forever. Sometimes in the auction thing, there was somebody one time was buying everything around Coloma Lake, and I think at the end he didn't have any money, but he was bidding. It's tricky things going on, always.
And one thing we see as well, the online bidding. And like Commissioner Yarbrough just said, the biggest ones that we see are out in Hager, where they see Lake Michigan Beach. They think they're getting beach property. Well, all of you know what that property is. And it's all these little lots, but they see Lake Michigan Beach. And then the next thing you know, 3 years later, it's back in our hands again. So because they finally realized what they bought.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've never been on the auction site to kind of see how it works. How do you pre-qualify? It's kind of what Bob is saying on someone's income, on whether or not they can actually purchase the property after bidding for it multiple times.
They have 5 days to pay. Once they have, when you register to bid, it's a $1,000 credit card hold. So your card does not get charged unless you purchase something. So that is one of the qualifications. You have to have that $1,000 credit card hold, but then they have 5 days after to purchase, to pay. And what we suggest, if they're purchasing a home or something large, get to the bank and get pre-qualified. Because you're not gonna have time, once the auction ends, and get to the bank and get your funding. So that's what we suggest. And I did have a couple calls for this past auction What do you mean, go to the bank? I said, just go get pre-qualified, make sure you have the funds, and we did have one back out.
And-
She decided that, she couldn't afford it.
If I put the online portal up, are you
Yes.
willing to?
Sure.
Okay. So members of the board, this is, there's a link to this site straight through Shelley's page on the county website. You're gonna see just about all of the counties across the state of Michigan listed here. And if you just scroll down, you'll be able to find Marion. Oops.
Would have been done.
If I had a mouse, I could make that work. If I pass it, Shelley, just holler.
Keep going, September, oh, it's not up there yet,
Here we go.
but ours is, the August 3rd. And we were grouped with Cass and Van Buren that day because theirs are so small.
My house.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
You said you didn't know. That's what everybody says.
I didn't know.
That's when the dog ate my homework.
So members of the board, all of this information's posted online. You can find it through the treasurer's website.
Like totals.
I'll also provide a link to the tax sales site in your weekly update.
Any other questions? I'll update you further after the next couple auctions to see what our final outcome. I'll be coming back to the board here in a couple weeks regarding the tax sale from 2021, which is required by statute that I report on that. That will be in a few weeks.
Thank you. Oh, one other question.
Just to let, you probably said it and I missed it. These sales are like June, September and December? Or,
It varies, they kind of switch it up every year. So I'll have August, September, October this year.
okay.
The final sale has to be before the first Tuesday of November.
Anyone else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Public comments from the assembled multitudes. I'm wondering, nope, nothing? Okay. Other business? Want to just go ahead and break early for committees then? We'll be back at 10:30.